Well, today we are joined by local Palm Springs artist, Mr. Garrick Lee. He's here to tell us all about his journey through the art world and how he ended up here in our desert and plans for the future. And we got this beautiful piece. We're going to work around it. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm well. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a first for you, and I'm already just mesmerized by what you brought on. So, how did you discover you wanted to be an artist?
I was very, very young. I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and I was just drawing, sitting and drawing just constantly. And my parents encouraged it because they realized that was something that I was extremely interested in. So during the summers, I would literally sit around and draw, and that just never stopped.
It never stopped. Talk about a passion. Jeez. Talk about knowing thyself.
Right.
Did you study art in school, Garrick?
Actually, I majored in architecture in college, and but I wasn't crazy about the engineering aspect. I loved the design aspect, and I aced all my design classes, and I loved drawing people, I loved fashion, and so I was just constantly designing things. Then I decided when I was out of college I really wanted to be a fashion designer.
Wow.
And so I started my fashion design career in Beverly Hills in the mid-'80s.
So you've worn several hats,
I
including
sure
the one
have.
you're wearing now.
Right, exactly.
Okay, very cool. So tell me, so how did you make that switch? I mean, did you get bored with architecture and that was it, or did you take a long way to
I never
segue?
got bored with it, but I just realized that the design aspect was more what I really enjoyed doing, and so I was able to constantly kind of flow back and forth. There would be periods where fashion was slow for me, and I immediately would do murals. I would get commissioned to do large murals. Venice Beach, I did a couple large murals, and so I loved my art, I loved fashion, and that's why with this line of prints that I'm doing, fine art prints, I've incorporated fashion into many of them because I have characters in them, characters that I've created and placed them into the scene, if you will.
I feel like your art eye is made for Palm Springs, the Coachella Valley. I mean, from what I'm seeing from your eye, from the art that you've brought
Yes, I've lived in Los Angeles, New York City, and then Bucks County, which is the countryside in Pennsylvania on the Delaware River. I grew up in Oklahoma and Texas, but I've never found a place I love as much as Palm Springs. So,
How nice. And all of us, for that matter, right? So this seems obvious, but tell me a bit about your inspiration. A lot of it is this mid-century modern architecture that we have here.
Yes, it is. Well, I grew up in the 60s as a little kid seeing lots of mid-century homes being constructed, and they always fascinated me. And moving to Palm Springs, I got to discover how important mid-century was to the area, and Modernism Week actually started right after I moved here, and I watched it grow.
Oh, wow.
I watched it grow, and this past Modernism Week, my prints were displayed at the camp, the tent, downtown.
As they should be.
Yeah, so it was my introduction to getting these prints out in Palm Springs.
Very nice, Garrick. Tell me, before we say goodbye to the folks, what new projects are you working on?
Well, actually, today I literally just uploaded a documentary that spans my 30 years in the fashion industry. And a lot of those questions that you asked are actually answered in that documentary, how I switched back and forth, basically due to circumstances of the times and economy changing and all. So you can get a link to it on my website. I have a YouTube link that can be found on my website if someone would like to view it.
I'm sure they will. I know I would like to. All right, well, to find out more about Garrick and his art, you can give him a call or go online to GarrickLee.com. That's Garrick with a K. A big thanks to Garrick for popping in. And make sure when you check that website, you'll be able to find his link to his YouTube video. And a big thanks to you for checking us out today. We'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great day.